And we're live. 5 o'clock. Welcome to episode 2 of Maclan Talk. We're going to wait for a few minutes to get some people in here and get watching and see how we're going to do. Got some interesting things to talk about today. And we've had a really good response from the first video, so our production has gotten an increase in the budget. So we're gonna have some new things you're gonna notice in this video, and it's gonna be quite interesting. And hopefully we can continue to do well, and the budget will continue to go up, and maybe we'll be able to hire a whole bunch of people and a whole bunch of cameras and all that good stuff to make this even better. Maybe hire a real host. Never know. So we're just going to wait for a few more minutes before we get started, get too in depth with stuff. And how's everybody doing? Did anybody get racing over the weekend? Let me know in the comments and I'll read that. We'll talk about what everybody's been doing lately. Maybe if we do well enough in this video, the production budget will go up enough that we can get air conditioning in here. Here in the studio. But we'll see. All right, we've got a few people here. Fergus Fleming says, let's go racing. I agree. Let's go racing when it's safe. Lucian says, Maclan power. That's right. We got lots of that around here. Kenneth Winden. Wi-Fi. Well, we might have something to talk about in that department here tonight. We'll see. D. Wayne. What's up, brother? How you doing? I miss you, man. Hey, Josh. Fergus says, this Sunday at Northwoods, Gladwin on Loam. That sounds like fun. I like loamy tracks. Henry, no, I did not get any test hits in today. I was working all day. But maybe tomorrow. I'm going to spend the day tomorrow at the track. So we'll see how many cars I can fit in the day to do some testing on. But Shannon Hofek, what's up, buddy? How's things in Portland? Good to see you on here. Thanks for watching. All right. Well, we've got a few people in here. We're about 3 minutes in. So let's get to it. So the title of this week's show has been Testing, which is what we've been doing a lot of. And it may not look like it at times, but we're always testing something. You know, things from recently we had something came to our attention that we've had some similar failures with, like a fan for a speed control, for example. Something small and minor like that, but when we see a pattern that indicates that there could be a problem, we go into test mode and try to figure out what happened and what's going on and how to fix it. So I've spent 2 days at the track doing nothing but running, trying to break fans. And I believe that there's something going on with the fans, but I cannot break one no matter what I do. So we'll see. And there's our production crew making noise in the background. Yeah, so we're still working on that. We're gonna get it figured out, and I'll be back out tomorrow doing nothing but laps, trying to break parts, try to break fans, all that kind of stuff, just trying to figure out how and why this is happening, and we're going to come up with a solution. And we don't have a solution just yet, but it's coming, and we'll figure it out. So, what else we're testing? We're testing speed controls. For example, same thing. If we start to see a pattern with something, something is very odd that we can't put our finger on, we'll try to recreate that problem. So we had a couple incidents where a couple of customers have had a very similar issue with a speed control that we can't put our fingers on. We've got their speed controls back. I put them in my car personally, and I am running them and trying to recreate the problem. So this stuff doesn't fall on deaf ears. We're listening. We're doing everything we can to try to figure out any kind of problems that we're having. We're always trying to be better, and that's part of it, is just trying to figure out how the problems, usually there's a pattern, so we try to figure out a pattern on how this stuff kind of happens. And we've always been transparent and open when it comes to this sort of thing, so that's why I'm talking about it publicly and just being upfront about it. We are testing, trying to figure it out, and we'll figure it out eventually, hopefully sooner than later, but it's a very small percentage of people are having this particular problem, and very, very small, very, very small. So, but we don't want anybody to have problems. So that's kind of how that goes, but we'll figure that out. Another thing we've been testing is drag motors. Testing drag motors and different rotors. We've been testing a lot of different rotors, which I'm going to show you. We've got several here that we've been working on, and these are kind of rotors that have come out of motors that we have put other rotors in. So these are the stock rotors, but we've got a bunch of motors with different rotors in them, and this is just an example of some of the ones that have come out of motors. So we've been testing right now a 13 millimeter rotor, which people have mentioned and kind of requested a little bit. We're kind of going down that road for drag racing mainly, and so far testing has been going okay. It's been going well, and that will probably make it into production here shortly. So the other thing is drag race software we've been testing. I've been doing a lot of testing with that. I don't want to say exactly what it's going to be because we haven't decided on that yet. We don't have a final picture of what that's going to look like, but it's coming. We're working on it, working hard on it. We've got several people pitching in to help test that kind of thing, and we're getting feedback, and we have the ability to make it what we need it to be. So it's coming. It will be very good, and it will really help, I think, with this drag racing. The popularity in drag racing has grown so much that we got to focus on it and take it seriously. So that's one thing we've been testing. Let me see. We've been testing a lot. I go to the track a lot. We have other people around the country going to the tracks a lot. We've got a newer person who's not new to the industry, who just joined Maclan recently. I think most people will know the name Felix Law, and he has a lot of experience and background and a lot of touring car on road, and he's done a lot of racing in just about every kind of genre of racing. So his knowledge will be invaluable, and we will possibly have him on the show shortly, sometime in a week or 2 or 3 or 4, I don't know, sometime soon. So, here's a question about reverse polarity. Maybe we'll answer that later. Are you writing down these questions? So we've got a lot of new products coming. We just released the new drag motor, and we have a new drag motor, even newer, coming probably in, what is it, 3 or 4 weeks time, probably somewhere around there. I don't want to release the details of it just yet, but there is an even newer drag motor coming. So we're taking that drag racing seriously, along with the 13 millimeter rotor, the software, and the software is going to be cool because I don't want to give all the details, but it's going to be similar to what full-size cars are using for their type of software. You'll be able to program it and do your run, and just it'll be very consistent. You'll be able to replicate a run time after time after time. So I have a tech tip. Today's tech tip. Who's the tech tip brought to us by? Mclaren Racing, of course. So I have seen time and time again, and I'm guilty of it. I actually had a problem last night, or not last night, on Saturday, due to me not maintaining my bullet connectors. They are a wear item. They take a lot of abuse. They don't look like it, but they take a lot of abuse through the current going through them, sliding in and out of the batteries, that sort of thing. And they need maintenance, and they need replacement. They're a replacement item. They're not designed to last, the life of your speed control. That's just not realistic for a connector like that that's going through the abuse that they take. So on the screen right now, you can see a connector that saw a lot of abuse. That one looks, this picture right now actually has a cold solder joint, which will cause what happened in the previous picture. So we're flipping through pictures here. This is a new program for us. We're learning it. There it is. There's the first picture. That one was caused by a major arc or a lot of resistance on the connector. And that can be caused by a buildup of resistance, by carbon building up on the connector, or it getting loose, or dirt building up. Those connectors need to be cleaned regularly and or replaced. So depending on the use of the vehicle, like a 17.5 buggy isn't going to draw near the amperage that a 4-wheel mod or an 8-scale buggy, like an e-buggy or truggy, or even a drag car is probably the highest amperage that we see is these new no prep drag cars. And all of that is going through that connector. So there's one on the screen right now that looks like it's burnt on the end. You can see it. That is a carbon buildup from just either being loose or dirty, and it creates heat, and there's an arc in between the connector and the battery. So what happens is it causes resistance, which increases the problem even more. And you're going to see things like your system might shut off under a hard acceleration, or like a brownout situation, kind of, that sort of thing. So I recommend switching out your connectors more often than 99% of us do. And I'm going to go home tonight after we're done doing this and change out my connectors on one of my cars, because I'm going to test it tomorrow. So having a connector that's having a lot of resistance can cause other problems within your system. It'll make it look like you're having problems within your system that you won't even think that it's the connector. So one of the first things that we need to do is look at our connectors when we start having weird problems with our system, with it maybe shutting off mid-run, under hard acceleration, it will stutter, or that sort of thing. Change out your connectors. And then the same thing goes for, I'm going to show you this battery, how the bullet connectors are here. So down inside the battery, inside the connectors, that needs to be cleaned as well. That can be, that can look exactly the same as what your bullet connectors look like eventually. And it can cause a huge amount of resistance, which is taking away from your performance, plus it is going to cause problems with burning the connectors, that sort of thing. So we have to clean these. I've cleaned them with Q-tips and alcohol, that sort of thing, and it seems to help a lot. And it's something that a lot of people overlook. So don't forget to do that. Change your connectors out often. Buy a bunch of packages of them and replace them every month, depending on how much you run. I can't tell you how often to change them. That's all up to the conditions and up to the vehicle that they're being run in. So change your connectors. Make sure your soldering joints on your connectors are a really good soldering joint, which leads me into the next tech tip sort of thing that we see. If you are even questioning your ability to solder one little bit, please step away from the soldering iron and let someone else do it. It's all too common that I see soldering joints that are not only hurting your performance, potentially fail during a race, but you're also potentially going to damage your equipment if you're not capable of soldering connectors, wires on motors, this sort of thing, and I see it every day. So if you need help soldering, please ask for help soldering. It can make the world of difference between having a great race day and having a terrible race day and costing yourself a lot more money. So we don't recommend people soldering wires onto our speed controls, which is why they come pre-soldered. They come pre-soldered with good quality wire, and they are excellent soldering joints. So I'm going to show you some pictures where the soldering joints, people have tried soldering wires onto the board, and it causes problems. For one, it takes a lot of heat to solder onto the boards. And the boards where those posts are connected are almost directly connected to the FETs, the MOSFETs on the board. So here's a picture of a good one. This is a factory one, nice and clean, nice shiny joints, where that's a good soldering joint. And then what we're going to show next is a bad one that has been done, and I don't know why people try to change the wires, but here's one that somebody's tried to change the wires, and those are all cold solder joints, and you can see one of them actually has the post removed from the board, but it requires so much heat to do that that you're probably 90% going to damage the speed control itself. So we've got another one here, let me see, is going to be on the board. Yep, that one is also another one, and you run the risk of having those solder joints touch each other and complete dead short the speed control. So you don't want to do that. You can see the solder down underneath the joint, and it's just, please don't solder on the boards. We offer the service to replace the wires. Yeah, that one's got the wires for the capacitor soldered underneath by somebody. I don't know who it was, but it's a mess, and it can cause a lot of problems. And we solder them from the factory for a reason. So the next thing is motors. When you solder onto a motor, don't use too much solder. It can go down and get into the sensor board and short things out in the motor. And you know, you don't need a lot of solder. You don't need that much solder. So, you know, if you're not comfortable soldering, please get help soldering. Or, you know, we offer the service to replace the wires on your speed control for a charge. And it's not a lot of money, but it's cheaper than a new speed control. So that one on the motor is a lot of solder. I don't know how that much solder gets in there, but that motor does not run very well at this point. So replace your connectors, maintain them, clean them. They're a wear item. So next thing we're going to talk about is calibrating your speed control. So this is something that I see a lot of people having a problem with. And it is something that is very, very simple, but I see a lot of people that misunderstand it or something like that. I don't know what it is, but so to start, when you plug it in, you're going to have it all plugged in. You're going to have your switch off. Before you turn on your switch, assuming you're running a switch, before you power up your speed control, you're going to want to put full brake on the radio. You're going to have full brake on the radio. This will put it into calibration mode once you turn on the speed control. So let's go ahead and turn on the speed control. There, you can hear the tones. Now you wait. We're going to go through this a couple times. There we go. Okay, so let's talk about this a little bit. When you're going into this and you initialize the calibration process, and it signals that it's received your signal, it's going to flash 3 times. You're going to wait until that light turns solid before you go to the next step. So let's watch this again, and I'm hoping you can see the lights on here. I'm going to try to hold it up so that you can see the lights. The light on the speed control. Alright, so it's right here by my thumb. Now I'm holding full brake, turning it on. Alright, so it's flash, 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 solid. And I go to the full throttle, flash, 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 solid, go to neutral. There you go. Now it's rebooting and it's calibrated. A lot of people don't wait for the 3 flashes and the solid light. So that is how you calibrate a speed control, and it's not complicated, but I know that people try to rush through it. So that's just something that's quite easy to do. And it makes all the difference. I've had times where I've forgotten to calibrate my speed control and I'm running, and it just doesn't quite feel like it has all the power that it should, like it normally does. And then I remember, oh yeah, I changed profiles or something like that. I go in, I look at my data logging, and the max throttle I'm seeing is 92%. Yes, it worked, but I wasn't getting full throttle. So I go back, I calibrate, it's fast again. So you want to calibrate anytime you change a profile or you change a car, a model, a radio, anything like that. It takes literally 20 seconds to calibrate. Get it done. Do it every time. Just changing settings in the speed control, you don't need to recalibrate. But if you change profiles or change models on your radio, not between cars, but for the same car, you'll want to recalibrate. So just a little tip, and it will probably save a lot of headaches for some people down the road, because I see it every day. I've had to help people, and it's all online. It's all in the instructions, the user manual on how to do that. But a lot of people don't wait for the three flashing lights and then the solid light to go to the next step. And if you do that, you're more than likely going to have no problems with it. So we talked about new products, and some people have hinted about a new problem, or a new problem, a new product that they're requesting. And we have right here, I can do it here, the Mclaren Airlink. This little guy is a Wi-Fi module. This is going to make things even easier than it already is to program, to you can even flash a new firmware through the Airlink on this. And I'm going to show you how to do that here in a minute. But we're expecting to have this around, hopefully, end of August, somewhere around there. It's going to look a little different. This is a prototype model, but this will be coming, and that's there. Now we're showing on the screen what it's going to look like. And it's not something you're going to leave in the car permanently. I mean, you could, but it can't be plugged into your speed control all the time, because once it's plugged into the speed control, it takes over control of the speed control and you won't be able to drive it. So you might as well not put it in the car. I've seen people do it with other brands, and that's fine. You could, but you'd have to plug it back into the speed control every time you want to use it. So I am going to show you on here how it works. Let's turn on this phone. All right, we're going right from the start here. So we need to power this up. Okay, it's powered up, it's flashing. So we need to go to connection. And then you need to connect to Airlink. And then what you need to do is go to launch Wi-Fi settings. And you will see it's going to pop up right there. You pop on it, you connect it. All right, we're connected. Let's go to the Oops. And it's not my phone, so I'm not used to how this works. Smart link. There we go. Okay. Connect. Successfully connected to Airlink. Okay. So we can go in and we can change some settings. Let's give Willie some turbo. He wants all the turbos. So we're going to give him all the turbos. We're going to turn off all his protection so he blows the things up. No, we're not. We're not going to do that. I'm going to turn his brakes way up, though, because he needs to slow down. Let's do this. Let's go up there. 100% brakes for Willie, because he needs to slow down. And then we're going to hit save. Just like the existing ones. Really, really nice and simple. So we're going to go back here. I'm going to show you, you can actually update the firmware through the Wi-Fi. So there we go onto the firmware update. And I'm just going to hit download. And we're going to show you how long it takes through the Wi-Fi. It's a little longer than being connected with the wires. You know, if you're directly connected to it, it's a little quicker. But this isn't unreasonable, you know, since you're doing everything wirelessly. It actually worked faster last night, but it all depends on traffic and what's going on in the airwaves, you know what I mean? Tick tock, tick tock. You know, I'm really hoping we get an increase in budget so we can have some AC in here. Okay, we're almost done. There we go. Complete. Done. We just updated the firmware through the Wi-Fi. Just like that. Simple. Easy peasy. So, that is the Airlink Wi-Fi adapter. And we're hoping for that in 4 to 5 weeks, somewhere around there. They've been working hard on this. So I'm going to unplug all this and turn this off. So this will be coming shortly. So what have we got? I haven't even been looking at comments or questions or anything like that. I can scroll up and look though. We're going to do that. Let's do that. Let's look. What's up, Sal? It's good to see you out on the East Coast, man. Hi, Casey. Reverse polarity on speed controls. Well, that is a good question. It is quite expensive to make something that does not affect the performance of the speed control and still have it work properly. Very expensive. It can be done. It's being talked about. It's being played with. And I'm not ruling it out, but it's not as easy as it sounds. So there's a reason why most speed control manufacturers don't do that, and that's I can't really talk about it much more than that. But it's being tested, and you know, would people be willing to pay more for a speed control if it had reverse polarity? Maybe that's a poll we need to put out. I don't know. Speed controls are fairly expensive already, but you know, if it had reverse polarity, would people pay more for it? I don't know. I'm not a marketing expert, but I'll put that out. You guys want to comment on that if you'll pay more for a speed control with polarity, reverse polarity? Sure. Going to be any testing done to make our 13.5 motors a little better? Well, maybe there already has been. That's, I'm just going to say yes. Yes, there has been testing to make your 13.5 motors a little better, and I can't exactly say what or a timeline, but there will be a faster method soon. I don't know a date or a time, but it's we're always looking to be faster. Always. We're always testing, doing stuff, and coming out with new stuff. So we'll see. Will the new software work with the current speed control? Yes, it will. Yes. That is something that we will make available for the current speed controls. The shortcoming with the existing speed controls will be not even a shortcoming, because it's what's going to happen is there's going to be a higher resolution data logging, and that requires it uses up a lot more space in the memory. So what it's going to do is going to use up, you're not going to be able to record as long of a period with a high definition data logging. So it will record the same amount of data, but there's a lot more data in that same amount of time. So your time of your data recording is going to be shorter, but it will be higher resolution. So I've been testing it on my drag car, and I really like it. It's really helping to tune in the drag car a lot easier. In addition to the high resolution data logging, will also be more graphics, more parameters, that sort of thing. It'll be displayed in a different way, which will help a lot of people visualize what their speed control is doing, what they need to do to adjust it. And that again takes more space and more memory. So yes, the short answer is yes. You will be able to use it with your current speed control. iPhone app soon. Well, yes, it's coming soon. When? I can't say. Developing an app for an iPhone like this is not easy, and it's not cheap. So it's in progress. It will be in conjunction with this, the Airlink. I don't have a release date on the Apple iOS, whatever you want to call it, app. But it's coming. It's being worked on. It is coming. So there's that. Motec software. Yeah, we're going to have that overnighted from Japan, because we have 3 spoon motors coming as well. What's up, Randy and Colin? Those are some of my diehard buddies. Joe Cathy's online. Randy says, how did you get pictures of my solder jobs? I don't know where those pictures came from. I didn't take them. Shannon says, don't forget to set your brake and throttle EPA to 100. Correct. I skipped over that when I was doing the calibration. Always want to set your endpoints to 100 on the brake and throttle while doing your calibration. Casey says he calibrates every race day. That's not a bad habit. That might be something that I want to do, but I check my data logging enough that I can always tell if I'm getting full throttle. So whenever I see I'm not getting full throttle, I'll recalibrate. Nathan says he's doing it now. He's calibrating right now. It'll be so nice to not have to carry a second phone to the track with me. Well, you know, even when I had a Samsung phone, I always wanted something bigger. So I actually bought a tablet just for my Mclaren app. Maybe because I'm old and my eyes are terrible and I need to blow it up. You know, like you've seen those phones that some people, older people have with the great big buttons or the big calculator. That's me with my tablet checking my settings. So, you know, I bought a tablet. It was cheap. It was like a Kindle Fire, and you kind of hack it to get the Google Play Store app on it. And I put the Maclan app on it. That's the only thing I use it for. It's $50. That way I'm not trying to look at my little tiny screen, you know. But, you know, everybody's got their own thing. That's all good. I just carried it in my toolbox. It's the only thing I use it for. Why not have a transmitter that does all the same functions and not have a hot link? We don't make transmitters, so sorry. Yeah, that would be proprietary, and that would have to be, I think, like Sanwa's, I think, the only one. Futaba maybe has done it, but Sanwa really is the only one that's been able to do it because they make transmitters and speed controls. There's no way you can't hack into a Sanwa or a Futaba or radio to make your speed control work with it. It doesn't work that way. Shannon, no, it will not be Bluetooth where you make adjustments from the driver's stand. I'm going to show you here. This once you plug the Airlink into your speed control, you no longer have control of your speed control through your radio. It takes over. So you cannot drive with it plugged in and make adjustments. One, it's not legal. And two, it's just really not possible. So, no, you won't be able to make adjustments while you're driving. You'll have to stop and plug it in. So, ETA on updated ESC and higher resolution data logging software. I haven't mentioned anything about an updated ESC, but higher resolution data logging software, that I'm not sure. We're looking at it for the, you know, it all depends. We're still testing. So if testing goes well, and I'll hopefully be testing it this week. If testing goes well, then we're hoping for mid-August for the updated data logging and the software, which you're also going to have to update your app to read the higher resolution data logging. So there's always more to the picture when we add something that seems so simple. There's always more stuff in the background that is harder than it looks. So we also have to update the app, and you'll have to update whatever component you're reading your data logging from to a new program, new software, new firmware for whatever it is. So there's that. That's, you know, it's not as easy as just putting out these simple sounding products and updates. There's always repercussions to it. So Sal says he loves his Kindle. Yep, that's a great way to go. It's $50. Buy the Kindle and hack it. All right, I think we've reached the end of our questions. Anybody got anything else? Come on now. I know there's more people that have questions. You've got us live. I'm not going to answer you instantly unless you ask it right now. My phone's being turned off when I go home tonight. I got work to do. It's warm in here. All right. I'm not seeing a whole lot of questions. I want to thank everybody for their support. Last week's video did very, very well, and I'm really thankful for that. And I hope people are learning from this. And we didn't give as much technical info this week, but maybe we gave a little more insight into a different side of what we're doing. And I think for next week, I'm going to go ahead and do this, and the boss is going to kill me later, but we're going to give away a prize next week. And I want to do a drawing for people that put in questions. So we can, if you guys want to get your questions, when we post up the post, and that's sorry, it won't be next week, it'll probably be 2 weeks from now. But if you want to get your question in, you want to get entered into this draw, I don't know what the prize is going to be yet. I'll have to see what I can sneak into the warehouse and grab without the boss saying. But we will have a prize for whoever puts a question in. We'll put your name in a hat, and I'll draw it live on the camera, so there's no favoritism. Not picking my buddies. So, yeah, we're getting a bunch of drag racing questions here. We can answer that, but next episode that we post up, we will. Oh, okay. We are going to give away a MX Pro speed control. MX Pro. I'm going to say that a lot from now on. You guys don't know why, but I'm going to say it a lot. MX Pro. We're going to give away an MX Pro speed control next week for somebody that asks a good question from the time we post the first post about episode 3 until we start episode 3. So any questions posted after we start will not be entered into the draw. So get your questions in early once we post for episode 3. Your name will go into a drawing for an MX Pro speed control. So, we got a few questions. Mostly drag race, personal ones for me. Let me see. What tires am I running on my drag car? Well, I'm running Proline tires. Proline tires on my drag car, but it kind of varies depending on the conditions which tire I actually choose. So, and temperature has a lot to do with it. But we'll talk about that another time. How did I do at Cash Days? I made it to the 3rd round, and then I drew probably one of the fastest guys in the Northwest, and I just didn't have enough for him. So, all right, that was it. Just drag racing questions. So, if anybody has any drag racing questions or anything like that, feel free to message me. I'm not the top expert in the country on it by far, but I'm learning all the time, and I'll tell you everything that I know about it. So, speed control related, batteries, you name it, hit me up, and we'll try to get you fixed up. I haven't been able to get any belted tires, Jeremy. Everything's sold out everywhere. I can't even buy tires right now, period. I'm running on old tires. I can't get any new ones. So enter the draw next week. Get your questions in online. on the Facebook post, and we will answer your questions. And you'll get your name in the draw for an M-Max Pro, Mclaren Racing M-Max Pro. If you don't know how to find us, you can find us on Facebook at right there. And then on YouTube, you can find us on Maclan Racing right there. All right. So, look us up. This will be on YouTube later once we upload it. And you can always find us on Facebook. You can message us on Facebook if you have something you can't figure out electronics wise. Yeah, so thank you for joining us. I appreciate it. I need to open this door because we don't have the budget for air conditioning yet. You guys keep watching and keep asking questions that might just happen. So the more people that watch these videos, the higher our budget's going to be, and I'll be able to sit in here longer and talk and talk and talk and talk and keep on going. So next episode, episode 3, we're going to have a drawing. I don't know what the topics are going to be yet, but we will answer all your questions regardless of which direction the show goes. But we'll talk about more Mclaren racing products and some of the things we've been doing on next episode. So thank you for joining us. Look for us on Facebook and YouTube, and we will talk to you guys later. Thank you for joining us.